Welcome to Inside the Space with the Millers. I'm Krista.
And I'm Cory. We've spent our lives in sports, dance, raising kids, building a business. But most importantly, we've been learning and growing every step of the way.
Here, we'll share the real story of chasing dreams, overcoming obstacles, raising kids, and most importantly, celebrating the small victories that make it all worth it.
This is the space where passion meets purpose and where we get to be honest about our journey. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Inside the Space with the Millers. Today is a super special day.
I gotta get
get your glasses out.
Today I have an introduction. I'm gonna make it really short and sweet and to the point. Today we are super excited to welcome MSA Talent Agency creators, Julie McDonald and Tony Selznick. Yes, they are amazing humans. MSA became the first agency to truly advocate for dancers, choreographers, and creatives as the professionals that they are, giving artists the same respect, recognition, and career opportunity they deserve. Over the past 25 years, MSA has shaped the modern dance world, representing many of the industry's most respected names and bridging the gap between artistry and business. From global tours, award shows, television to Broadway and feature films, MSA has built a legacy rooted in community, creativity, and integrity. Julie and Tony's vision has changed the game. They turned a passion for dance into a professional platform that continues to empower the next generation of performers, choreographers, and creators. This episode, we dive into what it truly means to represent artists who move the world and how MSA continues to set the standard of what's possible when talent meets opportunity.
That was more than short and sweet. Wow, I'm impressed.
Without further ado, we'd like to welcome Tony and Julie. What's up?
This is even more exciting because we have a live audience today.
That's very cool. You can control this, pull it towards you.
This is the first time you've done a live audience?
We have never.
Oh, cool.
This is our very first live audience with our launch training program in the house. Okay, I'm supposed to hand this over to you. Bye.
So, Tony and Julie, welcome.
Thank you.
Would you guys mind, for our podcast world, just introducing yourselves, each of you, starting with Tony? Go ahead.
I'm Julie McDonald. This is my partner, Tony Selznick. No, my name is Tony Selznick. And I'm, just like you said, lucky enough to be with Krista, I'm lucky enough to be with my partner, Julie McDonald. And this is my partner, Julie.
That's it.
I'll really leave it to you. Are you kidding?
Hi, I'm Julie McDonald. And actually, Tony and I have been partners for 25 years, but we've known each other way longer than that. That's what's so incredible about our partnership, because I've known Tony since he was 14 years old, when he used to take dance classes at my dance studio in Venice, California. But actually started becoming an agent for dancers and choreographers in 1985 at another agency, and worked there for 15 years before Tony and I became partners. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a correction. And this is how I know Krista. Krista was one of my first clients. Yeah. So, but we're here to celebrate our 25-year partnership and what we've created.
So one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to do a Q&A.
Awesome.
So this way you don't have to explain too much. We'll get into it. And I know you guys are really excited because you have lots of really great questions. But before we get started with that, would you guys mind, just between the two of you, just answering what advice, before we get started, would you offer to young dancers trying to break in this industry, now that you have 25 years experience in this and you've watched so many different artists come up the ladder? What advice right off the bat would you give them right now?
I mean, this is so funny. This conversation happens every single day, right?
Right.
I mean, I thought about this on the way here. Really, I've always looked at this business as an entrepreneurial way, not necessarily as a dancer. So I think the lane of a dancer is actually very narrow. And you guys know this now. It's not about being a dancer. It's about being a brand. It's about being a fully fledged artist. So my advice would be to just know that, you look at it this way, but it's actually so much more. And I'm going to jump into something too that Cory, we talked about over the summertime, which I love this because it kind of answers this question. You were talking about from filming, how everything is portrait. And you miss that it goes landscape, because when it goes landscape, you can show more. And when you said that, it made me think like that's actually answers this question too, that you kind of have to turn your life this way, landscape, to see more. And that's how you need to approach the business these days, because it's not just one lane, it's several lanes, and you need to go down all lanes at the same time. Does that make sense?
I love that. Okay. That's amazing. Julie, do you have anything to add?
That was a really great answer. I was going to say that choosing the life of a dancer is not really different from choosing the path on any other career that you want. The same rules apply to everything that you do. If you find something that you love and you want to do it badly enough, the same rules are going to apply whether you want to be, a certified public accountant or an investment manager or a teacher. You have to just adhere to the very basic things in life, which is hard work. And there aren't really any shortcuts. It seems like there's shortcuts now because of how much is available to you all, but nothing. And I don't think anybody who has achieved anything would disagree with the fact that hard work, dedication are the two, and perseverance are the three most important qualities, no matter what you choose to do. Same thing as choosing to be a dancer. Same thing. So it's universal.
That's great. Thank you. So should we open it up?
Let's go.
Let's open it up. Who would like to be first? All right, Cam, let's go.
Yes. Hi, my name is Camden Padilla. You guys look amazing today.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, there are so many dancers that are signed now, right? And I just wanted to know what we could do as individuals or as dancers to be at like the top of your mind, or to think of, what can we do on our side?
That's a really good question. Do you want to?
You go ahead.
Whoa. Yeah, it's so funny because we talk about this so much. So when you ask that, it's like such a bigger conversation. But again, I think that, and I love this program so much, so I think a lot about it. And we've had this conversation so much about when kids start training, I don't know if it's the kids or the parents, but there's such a grab to get an agent. We got to get an agent, got to get an agent. But the truth is there's so much work you can do as yourself to be more valuable to an agent. So one of the things that you can do is just make sure that you're bringing everything to the table. Like, it's a partnership. A lot of people, and I could talk for hours about this, but there's so many times you hear people say, "Oh, I'm with an agent, but I never hear from them." But it's also up to you. It's a two-way street. So there's a lot of work, proactive work that you have to do once you do get an agent, once you do get signed. It's not just sitting back and letting the phone ring. You have to be proactive in so many different ways. And the world changes. Like, what you guys are experiencing is different from what dancers were experiencing a few years ago. So you really have to make sure that you are plugged into the community. I guess that's the easiest way to answer that.
You want to add anything, Julie?
No, I think that's a great answer. We can move on to the next question,
Yeah,
perhaps.
let's go.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Eden Mullins, and my question is, what are common mistakes that a dancer could make when walking into a professional setting?
Do you mean a professional setting in terms of an audition or an agent's office or
a job?
Or a job that
I'd say more so like a job.
Like a job that you've already secured.
Yes.
Like you've been hired. Yay. I mean, that's but a lot can go wrong. And one of the things that we've noticed over decades and decades is what happens is dancers especially, they become very cliquish. And they will end up on a set. So when you're working on a set, let's say there's a lot of downtime. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. So what happens is everybody gets together and they start to gossip. And they start to, sometimes if things aren't quite right with their costume, I'm just giving you examples, they start to complain. Dancers are notorious for complaining. And you know what? It's sort of funny, but it's not. We cannot tell you how many times when I was working closely with the dancers, we would receive calls from the set. This is wrong. That is wrong. This is wrong. Now, sometimes things are really wrong and you have to deal with them. This is why there's usually a dance captain on the set. All those complaints need to go directly to one person. But I think if I was on a set and a young dancer, I would be watching what the costume people are doing. I would be hanging out with the production diners. I would be learning every aspect of what production is and not getting into this kind of dancer cliquish behavior, which turns into gossip and complaining. Now, you have a legitimate complaint. Absolutely. You have to voice that. That's another thing. Don't be afraid to, for example, you're in a situation where it's all of a sudden a hazardous thing that they're asking you to do that you weren't informed about it beforehand. A lot of times, people say, yeah, you're going to be on these levels and it's a little dangerous and you get paid extra money for that. But if all of a sudden someone's asking you to do something that doesn't feel safe, then that's a legitimate reason to pick up the phone, go to the dance captain or pick up the phone and call your agent and say, what should I do here? So anyway, my advice is to start to learn the big picture of everything that you're doing. Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that too is when I think back of our clients that have gone from like dancing into choreography or choreography into directing or directing into producing, they all say that. They'll say the same stories. When they were on the set, they weren't sitting with the dancers. They were talking to the lighting designer about what they're doing, what gels they're using. They're talking to the makeup people about what foundations they're using. And it's interesting is that conversation happens a lot with people that are moving, that are traveling up the ladder. And that has a lot to do with when you're being on set, making sure that you are keeping open and learning new things when you're there.
And you may not be able to talk to them, but you can certainly observe. You know what I mean? And production, even a production assistant, what do you do? Everything, So there's a lot you can learn on a set. And if it's a stage thing, same thing. If it's a live performance, same thing. There's just so many aspects to production. And I think dancers forget about that. They think it's all about them. It is not. It's about, it really is a collaborative art form, so it's about everybody.
And I think even just adding on to what you were saying about the going to your agent first, instead of gossiping with the kids about something that maybe is happening, the dancers, actually making a call and keeping yourself out of that negative world and going into the positive. Okay, what should I do? I think that's great advice for everybody.
Oh, Krista.
Oh, Krista.
Being in this room, we have like diversified ages. And of course, on my end, I'm dealing with a lot of parents of students that are maybe under 18. So they're 15, 16, 17, and they're getting this close to all the exciting things that I think everybody thinks are going to happen the minute you turn 18. I would just love for you guys to share, especially for maybe parents or, other educators listening or even students in this room, about what you feel like those teenage years are really like. I find they're not working as much. And I think sometimes there's a big push for that, but there's really not a ton of work until they become truly 18 years old. And then I think sometimes when people turn 18, they think, I'm going to book everything. And there's so much more maturity that goes along with, someone in their mid-20s on a tour. Do you guys mind touching upon that kind of aging into?
Yeah, I mean, that part hasn't changed in the industry. It's hard to work if you're younger than 18, if you're below 18, because then you have to have teachers and all that kind of stuff. So that was true 25 years ago when we started. That's true right now. There is that awful age between like 14 and 18 where you just have to deal with it. But it's also really important that you understand the day you turn 18, it's not going to change. Like that's just a slow period because of the way the industry works, but doesn't mean that the second you turn 18, everyone's going to be calling you. So I don't know how to answer that better than the way that you guys deal with this on a daily basis. It's just part of the industry is that, there's the age thing, about being able to work when you're 18. Do you have anything?
Yeah. I mean, 18-year-olds can play 14-year-olds, so that's what they go for, right? Yeah. I mean, if you're a child from age, 5 to 12, 13, you can work. When it gets older than 13, they're going to find, or 14 maybe, they're going to find 18-year-olds to work. So what do you do during those years? Those years while you're waiting, you continue to study and train and train in things that you may not even be that interested in. Krista and I were talking beforehand. If you're not singing, you better learn to sing. Not that you're going to be a singer, but you should know how to sing. If you don't know how to tap dance, the more skills you have under your belt, the better. So between those ages, that's when you need to be really doubling down on your training, and go take classes and things that may be of interest to you that have nothing to do with, maybe you're interested in art. I mean, I'm a big proponent of expanding your foundation of interest. That dance is not the only thing where you get your inspiration from. Go to museums.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, go to museums. You always say that to people.
I always do.
So many times, like, clients will call and say, I'm in Paris and, do you have any good classes to go to, or what show should I see? And Julie will always say, go to museums. Like, check out the culture, check out the art there,
And get inspired by other things. Go to the theater, see a play. Go to the opera, yuck, but still, just to familiarize yourself with other things. And when between 14 and 18, that's a really good time to do that. You may discover you're more interested in something else. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, look at this. Should I go to the back? I'm going to go to the back over here. This is kind of fun. I feel like I'm on a talk show or something.
Hi, my name is Tori, and my question is for both of you. I know last year, Cory and Krista, we've talked about you guys will have different types of groups of the A group or the B group or the C group. So my question is for you guys, is that how for your dancers, how do you know when to move them up and be more to be reliable and for them to book more jobs and stuff like that? If that makes sense.
Yes. So she's asking basically,
Yeah.
She's basically asking that at agencies, they have tiers of clients, probably some that work more, some that are at the bottom. When do you know when to push somebody up to the top tier? How do you know? If that's even a question.
I mean, it is a question. I have to think about that for a minute. Julie, you want anything to say about that?
We don't do that. I don't know where this comes from. Okay, we don't have specific...
I know where it comes from.
Yeah.
Because I actually say that. So this is why we make such good partners. So yeah.
I feel like I'm frozen in space now.
So she's right. The industry doesn't do that, but we do that. Okay?
But you do it in an informal... You don't have specific groups. People aren't listed in a group. The people who work all the time, those are the people you're going to push. How do you get there? You're going to have to keep auditioning, keep improving. I mean, it's not this is group A, this is group B, this is group C. This is not like that. But you have your favorites, and who are they? They're the people who work all the time, and those are the people you're going to push. But the new people who come in, oftentimes they will, it's just a matter of you doing the work to make sure that you start getting callbacks, because callbacks are a big thing. Once you start getting callbacks, you're kind of on your way.
Yeah.
So you got to work towards the callback thing first. I don't even know of very many dancers who start booking the minute they walk into an audition when they're 18, but it does happen.
Well, Mark did, didn't he?
Mark Miesmer? Yeah. There are examples, but it's rare. It's rare that dancers, because yes, there's a hierarchy. And the hierarchy is all the choreographers know the dancers they want to work with because they've worked with them before. They want the same people. So but to break in, you just have to keep going, basically.
Do you suggest communicating with your agent a little bit? Hey,
all the time.
So-and-so was in this space the other day. We just took class. I got called out. I really want to maybe be pushed into whatever jobs they might have ahead.
Yeah, for sure. It's important to have a relationship with your agent. You don't want to call them every day, but you do want to stay on their radar, and you want to make sure that they know of any progress you're making out there in the world. So-and-so, this choreographer really liked what I did. He said to me, make sure you audition for me next time. So those things are important to relay. All right?
Yeah, I like that.
I keep on thinking about this because this is such a layered question, how we just had.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it now, I'm thinking, it's interesting that you asked the question because you're like, how do you guys decide what makes a dancer go to the next level. But what struck me weird about that is because it's actually not us. It's actually you guys. It's you guys doing the work to get the next level. And then we go, oh my God, they're ready. And then to know to do that. So I'm going to flip that and say, it's actually not on us. It's actually on you to do that, to be that person.
It's on you, Tori. Let's get it. All right.
Tori.
Let's go to the back over here. I kind of like the back. The blue corner over here.
Hi, I'm Jaden, and my question is, where do you guys imagine the dance industry going, and what are ways we can keep up with it so we can have longevity in our careers?
That's for you.
No, so this is such an ever-evolving industry that it's almost like you guys are going to tell us where the industry is going more so than the people that have been here the past 25 years. You know what I mean? I think that it's accelerated so much. Social media started that whole thing, and now the branding opportunity with dancers. So I just think that it changes all the time, and it evolves just like AI is just a new conversation. The future where the industry going is really up to you guys. You can ask us and we can chime in, but the truth is, in another year or two, you're going to be so much more saturated in this industry. You're going to have ideas that are going to surpass our thoughts on this stuff, you know? But I do know that every year it's something new, and you guys see it before I see it, because you have to just follow the trends and really make sure that you are study the greats and follow the true that Christina Grady says. But it's true. Like, it changes. It's significant. I mean, it's crazy how a year ago nobody knew who the working choreographers are. Today, I don't want to single out one person in this podcast, but you know what I'm talking about. A year ago, you didn't know these people are. Now they're doing everything. That's how fast the industry is changing. So just stay on top of it so you can tell us where the industry is going in another year or two.
Jaden will be at the top.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that, Julie?
No.
Okay, let's move on. Woo, good questions. All right, sit on back room.
Hi, I'm Emma Shibley. My question is, how long do you keep in contact with an artist or a dancer before you sign them? Or like, how do you notice them, and then how long do you notice them before they can be signed?
I think it's totally, there's no one way this works. Do you have anything about that?
No, there's not. The agents find dancers in so many different ways. They either go observe them in a class. Usually they do observe them in a class.
And sometimes you know right away. And to your point, sometimes you see that they need work, so you're going to keep an eye on them and you're going to watch them. Next time you see them, are they better? This is what's so great about a training program like this is they bring agents in throughout the thing. So you get to see them, then you get to see them again, then you see them later. So I think that I don't think that it works this way. On your third time you meet the agent, they're going to sign you. It's not like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Every situation is different. Depends on the individual again,
One thing too that came up when we do our camp in the summer times that, we have agents that come in, and of course it's always hard for me when people don't get approached by the agents, because I'm like, oh, that's too bad. I wish they did. But then you realize, and I really made sense to me this last summer, when you audition for a job or an agency, whatever, you think that if you don't get it's because you're not good enough. But so much of it is what they're looking for. And this happens like with me, because I'll go to the talent department and say, what about these people? This person, say, yeah, we have 20 of them already. We have 25. So it really comes about what they're looking for and what they need.
Right.
And that's such a hard thing to understand, because you put your whole emotions in everything you're doing. So if you don't get it, you think you did something wrong. But so much of it is predetermined way before then. So you can't really focus too much on that,
Yeah, I love that. Who has a question that they're just so excited about? Ava. Yes. Excuse me.
Hi.
Hi, Ava.
It's Ava Sacco. My question kind of relates to Jaden's. Obviously, you're celebrating 25 years, which is so exciting. But I wanted to know, has the direction or purpose of MSA ever had to shift due to the industry changing?
All the time.
Yeah, that's such a good question.
It is a good question, but if we stayed where we were 25 years ago, we wouldn't be in business. It's as simple as that. We have to shift as the industry shifts all the time. We have to pivot to use a dance term, we have to pivot all the time. You have to, and you really, as agents, we need to sort of be ahead of the trends, even if we can. It's an ever-evolving business, way faster than it used to be because of social media and now AI. So fast, so we always are having to shift our direction. Not our mission's the same. We have a mission of, representation and of doing everything we can to connect people with work. That's what we do. We try to nurture careers, connect people with job opportunities. So our mission's the same, but the trends change all the time. I mean, even before social media, I do remember a time when there was a certain look that the dancers had to have. The guys had to be tall, dark, and handsome. And the girls had to be, a certain height, a certain weight, a certain look. And then what happened was hip hop came in and it all changed. And it was so great because it was the first time that you really saw diversity in every aspect of the industry, but especially with the dancers. So that was like a major shift, okay? And that opened up the door for so many more dancers. It changed everything. And it's stayed that way. It's like that now. There's a place for every... If you're talented and you're a professional, you can work with your body type, with your ethnicity. And it's not, so things are so much wider and so much better in that respect. And that happened 20 years, 25, 30 years ago, right? Whenever the first kind of hip hop sort of started. So
that's a really good point. So that was one area where the agencies kind of had to shift focus. Another one, for us personally, is teaching. When teaching became so big, we were like, no, we want to be the first agency to represent teachers. And it's funny how categories will open up. Like I have these milestone categories that happen in our career. One big one was in the producer of the Grammys, Ken Ehrlich, called Julie, saying, I'm looking for somebody to create Ricky Martin's performance. And Julie put on Jamie King, and Jamie created when Ricky Martin was first seen on TV and it exploded, and then all of a sudden choreographers became creative directors. And I watched it happen. It really was that one. It's happened before that and afterwards, but it was really that sort of launched a new category for us, creative directors. Couple years, like maybe about 10 years ago, we were lucky enough to get people on as producers on TV shows. And then they became executive producers of the biggest shows like American Idol, America's Got Talent, The Voice, all those shows. So all of a sudden now we're in the business of representing producers. We're in the business of representing teachers. You're in the business of representing hip hop dancers. Like as the industry shifts, if you're hopefully smart with what you're doing with your business, you shift with the business. So I guess that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So good. I'm going to go over here. Sorry. I'm going to change it up a little bit, jump around. This is so good, guys. So exciting.
Hi, I'm Sophia Capecci, and I actually have a different question for each of you, if that's okay. Julie, what did you learn from your prior experience being an agent before starting MSA that you brought when you joined MSA and started it? And Tony, what have you learned from events such as the camp and coming to the space all the time about the industry?
Those are really good questions.
Okay, well, 15 years of representing dancers and choreographers. What I learned primarily that I was I liked the opportunity of representing choreographers and moving them into directing more than anything. The dancers, I was fine with turning that over to somebody else. I love dancers when they're dancing. No, I really do love dancers, but I really loved working with the developing people, their choreography careers, and seeing them transition into creative directors. That was such an exciting time because what we discovered was that and you all know this, but choreographers do so much more than steps. So they would be on these shows and they would be doing everything. They would be like the fulcrum between the costumes, between the production design, between the director, the editor. They had to communicate with everybody. So what they were doing is taking on a way bigger job than not just choreography, because that is an extraordinary craft in its own. So I think the most exciting thing was, like Tony just said, was to move people from one thing to another. There are clients that we have that moved from dancer to choreographer to creative director to producer. I mean, that's a big thing. And that was very exciting for us. So we learned how to move people from one aspect of their career to another. And that's what I think was the most exciting change, but the first 15 years to the last 25 years.
But I'll add to that, just to be on a practical note, asking what Julie took with her into our business. Because she started this business, there's all these systems and formulas that she created, like they call them breakdowns. And when we get a call for a job, we'd have to pull out a sheet that's a breakdown. We write down what they're looking for. Then we would sit around and talk about who we want to submit. And then if they booked it, it'd go to a booking card. Now it's all computerized, but it wasn't. Julie created all these systems. So, and every agency does this, by the way. Yeah. You go from a breakdown into a booking card, and we get the booking card, then it goes and gets turned into.
And we also created contracts that people had never seen before. So,
and all the agencies now have them, because one person would leave one agency, start the other, and they bring that deal memo with them. So everyone's got the same template. Now, by the way, it's all AI. I mean, the agents in our office now, I don't know if you know this, but they put in contracts saying, tell me what I need to know about this contract. Like, rather than have a lawyer look at it, AI will just tell it this thing.
That's a really good point, because one of the things that I feel like I did learn is I'm this far away from being able to be an attorney.
Yeah.
Not to mention a psychologist. So, all of the things that go along with being agenting. I mean, the actual description of what an agent does is that they're supposed to do contracts. We do so much more. We are a proactive business, and we are always out there seeking opportunities. And it's really important, because the more competitive things became, the more proactive we had to become. You can't just no one can sit back and wait for the phone to ring, including the talent. They can't sit back and wait for the phone to ring. We can't sit back and wait for the phone to ring. So we actually have people in our office doing nothing but proactive work, which is just kind of reading what's going on and calling people, writing people to get them to do business with us. So there's so much we learned, so much I learned in those first 15 years that we took over, and we're continuing to learn. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
And switching over to what you're asking me, what I've learned these past couple of years, and I talk about this a lot, is the power of relationships. Because relationships will turn into reputation. And what I'm most proud of now is I'm hoping the honesty and transparency that I have in the business, because I've spent many, many years, as an agent, it's like a lawyer. A lot of people don't like you on the phone because you're the guy that they're gonna say no to. So you get so much friction. So much of our job for so many years was just banging the doors, and like getting more money for our clients and being hard nosed and everything. And I've just learned over the past couple of years that I want people to trust me. I want people to believe in me. And so your word is very important. Integrity is really important. The way that you treat people is really, really important. And I find it way more valuable. Like, I wish I knew that back then like I do now, because it's my superpower. I know that. Like, in pitch meetings, when I'm trying to sell shows right now, when I'm in a pitch meeting, first of all, because I was a dancer, I know how to be in front of people. You know how to talk. I can't tell you how much that's come in handy when I'm in pitch meetings, because you're with executives that don't know how to talk to people, but I do, because I've been doing what you guys are doing all this time. So I'm very comfortable leading a pitch and stuff like that. But a lot of that also has to come from that I know who I am so well, because I'm not trying to pretend anything. And it's the most valuable lesson I can teach you guys, is that your relationships, and I say this all the time, so I'm just repeating myself, but your relationships in this business are going to be the most valuable thing that you're going to have. Because what you're doing is you're creating your own community. And you know what I'm talking about. There are people that you don't really vibe with. I tell people a lot, like, they're not part of my tribe. There's a certain type of people I like to work with. And I know who those people are, and those people raise me up and I raise them up. And I think it's really important that you find your tribe, because in this business, there's so many people that want your job, that want your career, that want who you are. So it's a little hard to find the authentic people, but I can tell you at 63 years old, it's the authenticness and this of my relationships that are bringing the most business to what I'm doing. Like it works in business too, just like it does in life. You're a good person in business, it pays back. That's what I love.
Hi, I'm Colin. Thank you both for being
Hi, Colin.
here today. So like you guys said at the beginning, you both knew each other way before you started MSA together. What was it that you guys saw in each other specifically that made you realize this was the person you wanted to start this company with?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. Okay, well, this is what happened. Here's the story. I was looking for a new assistant, and I went to Tony's wife.
I was married.
He was married. And I went to, because she had a big job at a studio. What studio?
Orion Pictures.
Orion Pictures. And she didn't have a job. So I thought, oh, I'm going to interview Lise. And I did. And then apparently on the way home, she turned to Tony and said, why don't you take this job? You know? So I guess you called me. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, that's a really great idea. But that's kind of how it happened. And then Tony did not really particularly care for being an assistant at all.
That. Oh, you knew that.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. And although he soaked everything up like a sponge, but he is the one who said to me, let's form our own company. And I was like, we're too busy. There's no time to do this. I mean, how are we going to find a building, and how are we going to do this and that and the other thing, and how is it going to happen? We were so busy. And so he brought in a friend of his to help us do all of those details about moving, about finding a building, and how are we going to do this, and blah, blah, blah. All of the details to actually leave a company that had been very good to me for 15 years. And it was not easy decision to make, but I recognized that it was time, and that because Tony was very ambitious and assertive, that I was like, okay, this could work. And we were both right about that.
And you know what, for me, so I feel so blessed because I didn't choose dance. My brother took me to dance class. And I went because I was 14 years old and I was going to bar mitzvahs and I was not able to dance. And I remember thinking, I better get in front of this. My brother took me to Julie's studio. And I studied from a person named Russell Clark, who became my best friend and mentor for many, many years, and Julie's best friend as well. So it was a natural transition. When I started dancing, Julie was an agent. She started representing me. When I got married, my wife said, go get a job. And I actually started working for Julie in the dance department. And I hated it. I went home crying every night because I just wanted to be with my friends. Like, I didn't want to be in an office. I'd never done a 9-to-5 job. So the idea of like, working in an office was really hard. And God bless Julie, because she would let me go on auditions still on my lunch break. So I lived in Santa Monica. I would drive to Studio City to where our office was. Then we'd get an audition in Santa Monica. I'd drive back for my lunch, do the audition, come back to the office, and then go home. Like, it was just crazy that was going on. I didn't like working in the dance department. And it was when I took Lise and I went to the meeting at Julie's house about working with choreographers. And on the way home, when she said that, I thought, you know what? I think I could work with choreographers. I just don't think the dance department's right. So I started working in the choreography department, and then magic started happening. And it's so funny because it takes you back. But it took me a while to get over wanting to be a performer because I still wanted to perform. And I'll never forget this. One time, Kenny Ortega called Julie, and he was saying, I need an assistant for a Michael Jackson tour. And this assistant's got to be like organized, know how to work computers, know how to put casts together, how to cast. And Julie's like talking about that, and all I'm thinking is, it's me. I should be that guy. And I went home, and I remember just thinking, like, I wish I was doing that instead. And then as time got on, I started developing projects with my clients, and that changed everything. I remember at one point I booked a job. It was a Boy Scouts commercial, and it was a musical, and we were shooting at Balboa Park in the middle of the night, and I had the flu, and I didn't want to do it. And Julie gave me my first job to really do it. It was Jamie King's Ricky Martin's tour, and I was the lead agent on it. And I just wanted to impress Jamie. I just wanted to do a good job, and I literally just wanted to go home and go to sleep and wake up and go to the office and do Jamie King's deal. And I didn't. I had to do this commercial. I tried to get out of it. I called the casting person, said I had the flu. They made me show up, and I just remember dancing with the flu at 3 a.m. going, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. And I had so much enthusiasm going to the office on Monday and closing Jamie's deal. And I feel that way now. I still work with Jamie when we just did Madonna's tour a couple years ago. Like, it is so inspiring to be able to for me to be on that side of it. And I knew it as a dancer too, because I was always a dancer that was on the set with the first cell phone. I don't know if you know, cell phones were like these giant bricks with a big antenna. Mm-hmm. And I was that guy that had it on the set all the time. And producers used to say to me, like, you should be producing, you should be behind the scenes. And I knew I had a calling for that. So when I started working with choreographers and I was able to help them with their jobs, I thought, oh, this is where I want to be. And then I started developing projects with my clients, and that just went, the roof just blew off. And I knew I loved what I was doing. And Julie and I have always our partnership has been really fantastic because we're so different. It's really yin and yang, and we fight really well. Like we fought and our staff would just see this for years and years, but we are very passionate about our ideas, and we each have our own ideas, and we would battle them out all the time. And yeah, I did come to Julie. I was like, let's start our own business. And I knew she was ready to do it. And the timing was just right. And can I tell you, the day we started MSA, we had no financing, we had no bank, we had no nothing. And we started making money the day we started. Like, we just had all of our ducks were lined up. It was time, and we started. And as different as we are, our partnership has always really worked because we both attract a different kind of client, a different kind of person. And it really works for our company.
We actually started our business not representing dancers at all. We just thought, we're doing so well with our choreographers and our directors. Let's just not even represent dancers. And I think we did that.
And you know what it is? It was to your question about what things have you had to do to shift in this business. That was one of them. I was thinking about that. We weren't representing dancers. What we realized with our choreographers, we weren't getting a lot of commercial calls to do commercials. And Julia was like, after about a year or two, she's like, oh, we're not getting these calls because we don't have dancers going up for commercials. So we don't know about the commercials that are being done. And that's what made us start representing dancers. Yeah. And that's when we got Lisa and Terry, because you realized that we were out of the loop because
we were out of the loop without out representing dancers, because dancers are trendsetters, and everything starts on the street with dancers. I mean, it
and all jobs. Does. Yeah.
And but it always is about finding the right people to do it, because if you don't have the right people to run a department, it just can all go to hell and ruin your reputation. So one of the things that we are so proud about, both of us, is that we do have a good reputation. And we've had to fight really hard to keep that reputation. I feel that that's true. And how do you do that? You have to operate with passion, love, integrity. But it's not always so easy, and it's not always like that. It goes like this. We've had some very tough times. And the fact that, but back to that, we found the right people to run the dance department, and they were great until they found their own agency, which happened to everybody who worked with us. And it's fine, they learned everything, and they learned it the right way. So that was really good. And that didn't happen to everybody, but a few people went on their own. Clear Talent started that way, and so did, what is it? Go-To. Yeah, they both started from working with us. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that answered your question.
I don't remember the question. Yes, good question. Oh, these arms, these eager arms. McKenna, I'm coming over. Jumping over.
Hi, Tony and Julie. My name's McKenna Mitchell. I've been going to the camp for a few years, and I've always wanted to ask you guys this question. I have a big dream of getting signed, but I also have a huge dream of becoming an agent. So I was wondering what the steps and journey, or can you be an intern, or kind of what it takes to get to that point?
That's a really good way, the internship. So, yes. It's so great that you can just even say that out loud, and I'll tell you why, because it was a few years ago where we lost some agents and we had to replace them right away. And Julie was like, I remember Alyssa calling me up saying the same thing. I want to be an agent. And we brought her in and she became an agent. So yes, it's great that you say it out loud, and internships, all that kind of stuff is really important, right?
Yeah, but you can't do both. I mean, you want to have a dance career first. Is that what you want? Then you have to do that because.
Well, you let me have a dance career while I was being an agent.
But you could come in and intern for a summer. We do have an intern, so you can see if it's something you'd really want to do. You know, we love when we hear someone wants to be an agent. That doesn't happen all the time, but usually in a group like this, there's one person who says that. So you could do a summer internship. But
and this industry needs more new agents with new energy. And like hearing you say that's very refreshing because there's so much emphasis on the dancers, but there's also the people behind the scenes. Like you have to nurture that industry as well, you know?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I love it. Good question.
All right. Copy.
Hi, I'm Malia. My question is, what are some red flags that dancers should look out for when searching for an agent?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Use your instincts. I've always said this, but you know, if you don't feel like you can call your agent and they can listen to you, then they're not the right person for you. And so just use your instincts on there. Red flag would be that when you feel like they're not paying attention, they're rushing you, they don't really care. Those are not good signs. And this business is full of that because it's transactional. We're just doing this all day long. So it's really easy, but this is a person that you're letting represent your career. So you have to just at least believe that they believe in you. Yeah, that's a big one.
That's why it's important to interview with more than one agency. It's a relationship. You have to go with who you feel like some kind of, a relationship with, like that you feel good about them and they feel good about you. So it's another relationship that has to be developed. But I think it's always a good idea to interview with as many people as possible. And then you can see who do you feel best with.
That's good. I have one quick little question maybe. Because there's this, not controversy, but like, how do you guys feel about training versus like just people moving to LA and taking a few classes? Like, do you think that that's important for the future right now, training? And obviously, what styles would you recommend? What do you think the training should look like if they're pursuing a career in this business? And I say that because we're in a training program. So I'm saying that for myself too.
I mean, but listen, one of the best things about training, like what you're doing, is you're getting to meet all these incredible, not only people, but choreographers that come in. Like one of the things that you're going to find out in 10 years, some people in this room are going to move on to do amazing things. And you're gonna be like, oh my God, I was in launch with them. That happens to me all the time because I grew up in this business. So there's that. But you also have to just be really like, just paying attention to the people around you and being able to make sure that you're paying attention to all that stuff. That's really, again, it's the same thing, paying attention, you know?
I mean, people move to LA every day and from all over the world. Well, not even the world now, but the country, let's say. And they have training. They've been trained. They're in their studios in their towns, you know. Training is it's incredibly important.
It's also important not just for the obvious thing about with the skill level, but like what I was trying to say is the networking and the finding out about information and learning these choreographers, because choreographers are going to choose dancers that there's so many people here these days. Choreographers know who they want to work with. So yeah, they will do an audition, but so many of them that are teaching know because they meet these people. So to me, the most valuable thing about the training thing is the connections that you're getting. So to answer your question, yes, you can come here. I've met a lot of people that aren't formally trained. They learn off of YouTube. And by the way, that's weird because when I was growing up, there was no YouTube. So you had to be in a dance class to learn. It's not like that anymore. I can tell you some of my clients that didn't train. They learn and they're wildly famous because of YouTube and creating their own stuff. But there is an added thing about training where it's community. And it's in this community, you're going to meet the next round of producers, directors, casting people, all that kind of stuff. So you never know by being in this thing, what's going to happen. I mean, you have right after this is Jaron Reese is going to be teaching. What if in a month he gets this insane job and remembers you because of being here? And that's how it happens. So to me, the training stuff is not only the obvious things about what you get for the skill level, but it's the networking, it's the community that you're a part of. Krista and Cory take such good care to make sure that the community knows what you guys are doing and brings them down here. I mean, that's so valuable. That's so much more valuable. And it's interesting because I was thinking about somebody, and I don't want to say their name, but there's a guy that was thinking about going to launch, and he decided not to. And it's funny because I see him on social media, and I think, okay, too bad you didn't, because you're kind of just off on this thing. But if you were here, you would have been in the center of the hurricane the whole time. And I thought, it's just interesting about that there's a lot you can do on your own, but there's so much more you can do when you're part of a community.
Well, actually, isolation's a real problem. And it's a real problem amongst young people. So this is the cool thing about being here.
Yeah.
Or being with any community is you are around people. And you learn how to speak to people. You can go learn everything you want on YouTube in your bedroom. I think that just sounds like scary. Honestly, I mean, yeah, it's nice to learn a few things, but if you don't put yourself out in a group, how are you going to even be able to compare yourself with anybody else or have that experience? You know how exciting it is to dance when you're divided up into groups and you dance together. That's just like gives you goosebumps, right? It's just like such a thrill. So how is that ever going to happen in your room by yourself? That guy's missing out. And I applaud you for coming here because I always tell this to Cory. We need more men. And I'll tell you, if you're a good dancer and you're men, you're going to have a career because you're not going to have nearly as much competition as these guys, as the women. And unfortunately, because if you're a male dancer and you're good, you probably are going to have a lot of opportunity. And I just wish more men would dance. I always feel this way. I always like, where are the guys,
No, I feel like we need to make a push for that.
I know.
Maybe we do some marketing at the football field.
I think so. I think that the heads of athletic departments should talk that those athletes should come and take dance classes because they'd be better athletes.
Seriously, yeah. Tony, did you want to ask?
Yeah, the other thing that I really like about environments like this is you guys get to learn from each other, One of the things I have to be so careful not to nail people or say things, but one of the things that I'm seeing right now in our industry, a lot of the working choreographers right now are people that got really famous really fast and they're really, really good. But I am noticing that they lack a little bit of understanding the role that they're playing. Like I have so many clients that be like, I don't know if I vibe with that. Like I want to put you up for this job. I'm not sure if I vibe for that. It's like, that's such a luxury because back in the day, like you said yes to every job. You didn't get to choose. So it's just funny that I'm in this position with these clients that are like, not so sure if they want to do stuff. And it's like, what do you mean? Like there's a job. Like how can you be not so sure? Like that's great that you have the luxury, but you also, because they're self-trained, because they created their own environment, they don't really understand that so much of this business is being able to you don't always get your vision. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So many choreographers don't realize that when you get on set, the director, the producers, they may change that and the working choreographers are the ones that can adapt. A lot of people can't. This is where a lot of people get famous really quick for a minute and then they peter out because they don't know how to be collaborative. They don't know how to actually, the business works in terms of how to be part of that process. And I feel like this again is another great, because the thing is you guys get to hear when Ava goes to an audition and comes back and talks about it to her friends. And you hear about, these are the information that you hear, and hopefully you're learning these so that when you're actually in the work environment, you remember these stories. Because like what we were talking about earlier, like when you're on the set, learn something new and make sure that you're really trying to move it forward, because you don't know where this is going to come from. But I just think there's so many of the things that happen because you guys are together. So, and I think about this a lot, Cory, because a lot of our clients, especially these days, come from different countries and they've created these incredible empires, but being able to move them into different situations is a bit tricky because they're not trained in all these situations. They're trained at doing one thing really, really good. But the choreographers that came up with these masters, like that were training for a long time, they can step into many different situations. And that's how you have a career. You've got to be able to change hats.
That is such an important point because and there's these choreographers now that, like Tony said, they are brilliant, but they are now stepping into situations that they're not familiar with. One of them got a script. I don't know how that meeting went for big feature film. And I told Alyssa, make sure he knows how to talk about what is necessary in this project. Like, you have to read the script, you have to break it down, you have to know where the dance fits in here and what your vision is. You can't just go to a meeting and say, yeah, I really like this project. You have to be able to know. And if you've never been on a film set and you come from music videos, it's a different animal altogether. I really would love to see an academy for choreography. I think that should be your next thing, because the choreography for music video, commercials, television, episodic, variety, feature film, and stage, six different ways of working as a choreographer. How are you supposed to know that if you didn't come up in one of those, if you weren't an assistant, which is a lot of choreographers, on one of those jobs? You don't know anything. And this is what I realize, that this is probably a problem, because we move these people into other opportunities, and I think they're doing fine, but they need to be educated as well.
You know what she's talking about is mentorship.
Yeah.
We just really believe in mentorship, that you have to have someone that you can go to help you as you're traveling along,
And I feel like you guys are our mentors. It's awesome. It's cool.
Yeah. We could be.
Yeah.
You're right on.
Hi, my name is Paige Chavez. My question is for both of you. Gotta read it off. During an interview with a potential new client, what do you look for in them to know that they're the right fit for your specific agency?
When you get you know how you give the little...
Yeah. I'm having a conversation with myself about this right now. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to land. You want to know something interesting? Because I was a client for so many years before I was an agent, there's something that I noticed, and this will help you guys in terms of like when you go on an interview. I used to do this thing a lot, and I've watched other clients do it, where I would go like to meet with Julie or meet with my agents, and I would tell them all the incredible things I was doing other than dancing. Oh my God, I want to produce. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. Kind of like showing off all the things that I do. When people do that to me now, it looks scattered. Like, what I actually want somebody to do in a meeting is to talk about the career that we're talking about. And this happens all the time. I'll meet with somebody and say, you know what, I want to choreograph, but I really do like to do this. And I really want to do this. I've got a boat. I'm on the weekends I do set, but, and they just talk about all these things that they do, but they're not really talking about what they want from you. And it reminded me of me, because I thought, I think I used to do that. I think I used to go to meetings kind of like bragging about all the things I'm doing, hoping that's going to excite them. But at the agent, they represent you for like one or two things. So focus on that. So my advice is when you're talking about like what can you do when you meet with an agent, stuff like that, don't talk about those other things. Talk about what your career that you want from them, and stay focused on that. Because when we get nervous, we start talking about other things. And I just noticed as an agent, oh my God, I used to do that. And it's distracting when I see that in an interview. You tend to sign people that are really serious about their career, that come in focused and well presented.
Love that. Okay, last question. Who really wants this one?
Hi, my name is Ella, and something that we know is essential in this industry is headshots. And I think we see so many dancers doing different things, and it honestly, if you don't know where to start, it can be overwhelming. So kind of two-part question. What are your like top around 3 to 4 looks that you would say every dancer should have in their own personal that could book them a variety of jobs? And is there anything right now that you're seeing in headshots beyond just like the basic photo that is getting people booked? That's like what they're doing with their looks.
I can't answer that question, but I can tell you this, that I can't answer because, again, we are not working directly with the dancers, so there's other agents in our office who do that. Absolutely. But things haven't changed all that much in terms of headshots. You have to look, if you're young, like most of you are, you don't want to look older. You want to look like fresh-faced, that's really important. It's really important to have some kind of sexy shot, It's really important to show your body. It's important to show your personality. I don't know, back in the day, you wanted to look like a business person. You wanted to look like, you wanted to look like the girl next door. You wanted, Krista, come on, just,
I have these friends like growing up that have like 8 different headshots. Like Troy Burgess would have the country guy, the business guy, the truck driver guy. But the truth is, I want to echo what Julie's saying. It's not our area, but the truth is you actually don't want to pick that until you have an agent. Okay. You can get a headshot, but whoever you sign with, they're going to have their own opinion. Okay. So do not try to second guess their opinion. Because
don't spend any money on a photographer until you get an agent,
and
because they're going to send.
They're suggesting. Mm-hmm. Don't go, okay, I got your idea, I'm going to go to somebody else. Actually, they're telling you who to go to for a reason. Because if you go to them, then they are somewhat responsible for making sure that's right because they recommended them. Yeah. So you should have headshots, but just know the minute you sign with somebody, they're going to tell you to go get new headshots.
Amazing.
And they're going to have their own ideas about them.
This Krista throws us down.
Well, first of all, it's truly been an honor to have both of you in our building and to share with this incredible program. One takeaway that I feel like I have for all of you that they've actually also taught me through all these years is to have patience. And look at 25 years, pivot, shifting, staying on top, being present, all of the things that they've had to do to be as successful as they are. And we want these things to happen in 3 days. And we think when we're 18, we should be doing this, or when we're 19 or 20, because our mom's going, you're not working. This business is not for everyone, but it is so special. And to watch you guys do what you do, and then to be supported by these incredible human beings who have more knowledge than most people in this business, it's truly incredible. So I really do hope that you will take that part of patience and even listen to these brilliant stories and know that you have so much time. And thank you guys for giving us time, because this has really been just wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. This is Inside the Space with the Millers. Give it up for Tony and Julie, everyone. Woo-hoo.
Thank you.
We did it. We did a podcast.
Amazing.
Yes. Awesome.